Are the current decks in Master Duel too complicated for you to understand? I'm about to show you one of the best decks that can stop the metagame right now on the ladder, and it's incredibly easy to play. Alright, if you're jumping into Master Duel because you like Yu-Gi-Oh!, you used to play it in the past, or you played Duel Links, and you're like, I really love this game, but all of a sudden Master Duel just kind of threw you for a loop because there's so many combos, there's so much card text, there's so much going on the board that you kind of get overwhelmed. This is going to be the deck for you. Not only does this deck stop most of the meta decks on the ladder, it stops many of the new combinations that you're going to see coming out, and it's all about controlling the board and stopping your opponent from doing anything. And when I say it is super simple to play, trust me, this is the simplest deck you will ever get in Master Duel. Now, all of your main monster cards are designed to stop your opponent from playing, starting with Inspector Boarder. Now, Inspector Boarder is pretty much your boss card. You're only going to have this one card on the field, probably with an equip spell, but its effect is fantastic. Basically, what this card does is it stops your opponent from activating any effects based on the monster types that are on the field. Since you're only going to have one monster like this, if they've got a ritual, if they've got an Exceeds, if they've got a fusion, a synchro, a pendulum, whatever it is, they won't be able to activate. It's going to stop them from special summoning. It's going to stop them from activating any more effects. It's going to stop pretty much all the plays that they have. But the beauty in this deck is if you don't draw Inspector Boarder, you have some other monster cards that will shut down the metagame, like Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo. That is such a stupid name to say. If you set this card and it's flipped face up, it will destroy all special summon monsters on the field. If you play this card face up in attack position, it will stop all special summons across the board. Since most of the metagame is all about special summoning, this card shuts them down and there's no play that your opponent can make. And the last monster card we're playing is Banisher of the Radiance. Any card that's sent to the graveyard will automatically be banished, and we don't just play this one card for banishment. There are other cards we tech into this deck that will banish all cards instead of them being sent to the graveyard by destruction or card effect. Now, while these three cards are incredibly simple and stop your opponent from playing, it's very rare that you may open with them every single time, so we've got lots of cards that we teched in here for drawing power. And I did my best to keep this deck relegated to mostly super rares, and maybe one or two normals. Most of the normals will be in the extra deck. I didn't want you guys to spend too many gems or waste too many resources crafting ultra rares. So we're going with the 3-pot system here, starting with Pot of Duality. You look at the top 3 cards of your deck, you pick one, and the other 2 get shuffled back to the deck. Next up, we've got Pot of Extravagance. At the start of your main phase, you can banish 3 or 6 cards from your extra deck face down, and then you draw 1 for every 3 cards you banish. So if you send 6, you're gonna grab 2. The only caveat to this is once you activate this, you won't be able to activate the other pot card, which is Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is very similar. You banish 3 or 6 cards from your extra deck, except for you can choose the cards this time, and instead of you grabbing a card per 3 that you send, it will either show you 3 or 6 cards from the top of your deck. You get to pick one, and then the others get sent to the bottom of the deck in any order you want them to be in. We're playing 1 Raigeki to destroy all face-up monsters, and I put in a Lightning Storm so it can double as a Raigeki for face-up attack monsters, or double as a Harpy Feather Duster. You can put in Harpy Feather Duster if you want. It is an ultra rare, but in case you don't have any more crafting materials, you can use Lightning Storm. It's a very early card you get in the game. As far as equipped spells go, we've got 6, starting with Moon Mirror Shield. Moon Mirror Shield will take your opponent's monster's attack or defense, whichever one is higher, and then add an additional 100 attack boost to it to stop your opponent's monster from destroying yours, unless their monster can't be destroyed by a battle. Chances are they're just gonna pop themselves, and there they go. Power of the Guardian is a classic card. If you've played Duel Links, you know exactly what this does. It's a super rare here, which is shocking, but it will boost your attack by 500 and it will boost your defense by 500 every single time you add a counter to the card, which is almost instant protection in every situation. And when you're playing cards that stop your opponent from making any moves or any plays, all you're gonna do is just attack, boost, attack, boost, attack, boost, or defense, boost, defense, boost, defense, boost. until your opponent just gets frustrated and quit. And boy, do they quit. We put in some Mirror Force siblings for a little bit of diversity, starting with regular Mirror Force, which destroys all attack position monsters. We put in Storming Mirror Force, which will send all attack position monsters back to the hand, which means if they happen to have anything extra deck related, it'll send it back to the extra deck. And we've got Blazing Mirror Force, which is basically destroy as many attack position monsters as possible. Then you will take attack damage equal to half of their monster's attack and inflict that same damage on your opponent. This is almost a secondary win con depending on how much you've been able to whittle down your opponent's life points. We put in 1 Infinite Impermanence to negate card effects. We put in 3 Ice Dragon's Prison. What it does is it grabs a monster from your opponent's graveyard, negates its effects, and if your opponent has another monster of the same type, you can choose to banish 1 monster of the same type and then banish the card that you just drew. We put in Solemn Judgment. You pay half your life points, and if your opponent summons a monster, spell, or trap, you negate the activation and destroy the card. 1 Macrocosmos, which we don't use as first effect, but its secondary effect while this card is face up on the field because it's a continuous trap. Any card sent to the graveyard will get banished instead, which is very similar to Banisher the Radiance. And last but not least, there can only be 1. While it is an ultra rare, here are the effects of it. Each player can only control 1 monster of each type. If your opponent controls 2 or more of the same type, then they got to send them to the graveyard. Everything else in the extra deck we probably won't use, and that's pretty much the deck. It's just simple normal summon, equip, flip spells and traps, and you just wait, or you watch your opponent just quit out of frustration. Anybody can play this deck, even if you're a newcomer jumping right into Master Duel and Duel Monsters for the first time ever. This deck is that easy to understand. Try it out. Watch how quickly you'll rank up on the ladder, surprising your opponents, and have fun with it. Take a look at the replays and enjoy. All right, here we have the first play up. I already have an Inspector Border in hand and a Power of the Guardians. I'm going to start with a Pot of Duality. I'm going to take a look at the top 3 cards, see what I want to grab, and I already want to grab a Banisher of the Radiance just in case my border gets stopped, and then I equip Power of the Guardians to it, and a Moon Mirror Shield just in case I have something to pop 1 of those cards. Now, I don't know what my opponent is playing just yet, but what I do know is that they won't have a strategy if it's reliant on special summoning. I see that he sets and passes, so right here, free reign for me to just attack in, boost up Power of the Guardians, 2,500. He just has to take it. He's got no play as of right now, and then I set in phase 2. Macrocosmos will banish all cards that should be sent to the graveyard. So now I know in case he does flip anything up, for instance, like the Infinite Impermanence, it would get banished if I decided to flip it up, but I decided not to. I was waiting to see what he had, and he had an Aloof Lupine, and unfortunately, Aloof Lupine is a card that just banishes cards, so this is Thunder Dragons. So here, I'm gonna sit on the Macrocosmos and let's let him make his plays. He's gonna make all these plays, but won't be able to do anything. Now, my opponent does something really funny here. After activating his Infinite Impermanence, which he should know anything he puts in that column gets negated, he continues to play cards in that column, which just keeps negating him. And then there you go, he just scoops it up because after that, there was nothing else he could do. All right, next duel up. Here I see I don't have any monster cards in my hand, but I do have a Pot of Extravagance. I'm going second, and automatically I know it's Blue Eyes. So my strategy now is here, I need to be able to stop any monster effects. So based on what I draw next, I might have to do Pot of Extravagance. I see that it's a Macrocosmos. So first and foremost, Pot of Extravagance, banish 6 cards, grab another 2, and then just set as much as I can here. Now, I'm pretty sure his next play is going to be a Maiden with Eyes of Blue because he's assuming if I'm going to attack into it or target it, he can pull out a Blue Eyes. But little does he know that I have another plan of action. Drew into the Inspector Border, go for Pot of Extravagance again, banish another 6, grab the Power of the Guardians, and put it on the Inspector Border. Now there can be no other monster effects activated. Boost up to 2,500, attack into the Maidens, and I know right now he's thinking to himself, like, why did that not activate? So he's probably reading Inspector Border right here, and I'm sure at this point he's thinking, all right, I'm going to go into Whitestone of the Ancients, I'm going to attack in, and then I'll be able to special summon. I flip up the Macrocosmos, so when he attacks in, Whitestone of the Ancients won't resolve in the graveyard. It's going to get auto-banished, so he's going to end up taking a fat 2,400 damage and gets banished, and right there just scoops it up. That is the power of this deck. All right, next duel up. I can already see I don't have any monsters in my hand. So my first thought is I got to drop that Pot of Duality, look at the top 3. One of those 3 hopefully is a monster. If not, I just have to kind of drop maybe an Ice Dragon's Prison. I see that I got Inspector Border, so I play that, and then I do a double equip to it. Once again, I do Power the Guardian if I'm attacking directly. even though Moon Mirror Shield takes the priority in case I have a monster. Not too worried about it. I double equip just in case I have something that's going to pop one of the back row. I see we're going up against Traptrix, and already I'm thinking, okay, I gotta make sure that however I play this, I have to clear the monsters first, and then potentially clear the back row. Draw into Raigeki, and I just attack in. I see Power of the Guardians will give me a boost, which is a forever boost, but Moon Mirror Shield will take priority, but it's still fine. I still have the 2500 attack with a little bit of protection from Power of the Guardians. He pulls out a Raigeki out of nowhere. I get a little protection thinking I'm okay with Power of the Guardians, but waiting in the wings, he's got another trap card just ready to pop me. Traptrix Sarah hits the field, then he flips a Torrential Tribute, which I was not expecting, but I still wasn't that worried because I had a Raigeki and a Lightning Storm of my own. Sarah activates, so I flip the Ice Dragon's Prison, and I'm going to grab the biggest monster that he has in his grave. So I'm going to grab that Traptrix that we just popped. So there you go, Traptrix. And then he pulls out a Mantis, and I've got the Murmello or Murmelio. Can't activate my effect because that's one of the caveats of pulling out an Ice Dragon's Prison, but I'm not really that worried about it. I just know that I'm a bigger monster, so I'm just going to attack in when I can. Stop me from making any of my plays, and then we see Sarah will grab a Floodgate Trap Hole. So now we know that he's got that Floodgate there. I'm not going to try to summon any monsters until I can pop that Floodgate. So I draw into the Extravagance. Thankfully, Extravagance, banish 6, get to draw 2. Grab the Raigeki, use the Raigeki, but he Solemn Judgments it, which is okay for me because he's halving his life points now, so now he's one step closer to losing. I'm fine with that. So next up, I drop the Moon Mirror Shield, equip it, and now I just attack in. Not really worried about Mantis's effect, not really worried about Sarah's effect after Mantis activates her effect. All I know is that I just need to attack in and win. I'm not trying to summon any more monsters. Attack, get over it. Sarah, I think to myself, you're next. If you draw into more Traptrix cards, doesn't matter, you're still next. He pulls out a Maxi just so he can Link Summon. Link summons, which I gotta say, a Nightmare Phoenix is a great play here. Was not expecting a Nightmare Phoenix play. So I use it to my advantage, grab that Pot of Prosperity, and here we go, excavating, 6 cards, taking a look at all of them, and I'm gonna grab the best one that I see. So I see that I got that Dyna, grabbing up that Dyna just in case. I'm not going to use it because Floodgate is there. Moon Mirror Shield gets over that Nightmare Phoenix. And now, clear front row, I can drop my next Ice Dragon's Prison. Here's how I know he doesn't draw any Traptrix cards, so I use it to my advantage. I grab that Nightmare Phoenix with that Ice Dragon's Prison, and it gives me free reign to attack in. Grab a Mirror Force, great card to grab in case he happens to do anything silly with any monsters by special summoning, since he can right now, but I know he can't. I set that Mirror Force. Now it's all about his top deck. If he top decks another Traptrix, then he might have a chance, but he doesn't. So it tells me that's pretty much game. All I need to do is attack in to win, which is exactly what I do. I attack in with the Murmelio. Traptrix attacks and just performs little seppuku on his own deck, and there you go, there's a victory. Here I see, again, we don't draw into monsters that often, although I'm not that worried. He drops a Pot of Duality. Now I can see what his deck is, and already I see his Gravekeepers. So I think to myself, great, I'm going to stop your plays. You won't be able to special summon anything. I see that he had the Spy there as well. I'm hoping that what he sets is a Spy. So here my thought process is, I need to draw into that Dyna. I do. Get a Pot of Duality, take a look at the top 3, and I go, all right. Dyna's here, and you know everything that I need is in my hand. I grab that Ice Dragon's Prison, put that Dyna out, Power the Guardians attached to it, and I'm going to attack into that Spy and make him think he'll be able to special summon, knowing full well he won't be able to. So I take the 800 just to flip it up and just to show him and bait him into thinking he had some plays. Now here on his play, I think he pulled a Raigeki, so there's a Raigeki. I was able to stop it with the Power of the Guardians. He then sets and then puts the Necro Valley Throne, adding a Gravekeepers. I flip up that there can only be one, preventing him from playing more than one Gravekeepers on the field. So now he can't special summon, and now he can't just normal summon more than one monster of the same type. Puts it in attack, forgetting I've got Power of the Guardians. I get boosted up to the same attack. He attacks in, destroys himself, but he's still okay. He has that Spiritualism in his hand, so he plays the Spiritualism. There you go, 2K beater on the field. So here's my draw. I draw Banisher the Radiance, but I don't want to play it yet because obviously there can only be one. Is on the field. I have Power of the Guardians. I put my card in defense, and I just want to see if he's going to attack into it. See if he's thinking that he can possibly get over it. Power of the Guardians gives me that boost. He attacks in. Obviously can't get over me. Now he has to figure out what his play is going to be because Spiritualism is pretty much his only monster that he has. Grab that Blazing Mirror Force from the draw. Don't really need to do anything. I set the Blazing Mirror Force, and now I'm just going to wait. And I don't think he has any monsters in hand, so he won't be able to special summon them. He attacks in. Again, I don't know. I guess that's just a thing he needs to do. He attacks. It does nothing. So here I go. My turn is up. Do I Raigeki or do I wait for what I have? I get a Pot of Extravagance. You know I'm playing that one first. Pot of Extravagance, then Banish 6, grab 2. Then I Raigeki, pop that, put that in attack in, get that boost. 2200 damage he has to take. Now I'm in a good position. I know I can win. Whatever monster he draws, and he draws another commandant. I know if he attacks in, he's going to lose that battle, so he sits there and he waits on it. I got the last Pot of Extravagance, so I'm going to play that one as well. Banish the last 3 I have, grab another Power of the Guardians. I just want that double boost. I'm just going to do more damage. He's Solemn Judgments, which means he sacrifices half of his life points, which is a fine play, so I'll take it. I still have another Power of the Guardians there, so I battle in, boost up, deal 100 damage to him. Now he's going to be in a position of either top deck a monster or he's going to have to quit. He draws, and I think at this point he realizes he doesn't have many plays, so he just summons and then just quits. And there you go. Another victory from somebody surrendering. Now this next duel goes a little longer than expected. I didn't draw into the cards I wanted. I went first. So I'm hoping to draw into a monster with Pot of Duality. Unfortunately, I don't. So I just grabbed the Lightning Storm. I'm going to have to use that Pot of Prosperity. I would have much rather hold on to it for a second play. But here I go, I Banish 6. I see that the first card I flip is a Dyna, so right now I'm thinking, all right, Dyna is the card I'm going to grab. So another Dyna there, but then Inspector Border shows up, and a Banisher of the Radiance shows up. So Inspector Border is the boss card. Grab that one, put a Power of the Guardians on it. There you go, now I got the boost, and I do a double set. So trying to guess what my opponent is playing here is going to be a little bit tough, because he goes for Cursed Eldlich, which lets me know it's Eldlich, and here's why it's tough. Eldlich is very, very, very reliant on that back row. Because of Inspector Border on the field, it prevents him from making any plays that are really substantial, but he still has options because most of the monsters he's going to summon are from the back row. So while they won't be able to activate their effects, he can still pull them to the field, and this is why I know this duel is going to be a tough one. So they all show up on the field one by one. So I have to go for the one that I think poses the most problem. I pop that card, send it to the grave, and I know he's gonna have a boss monster coming very soon. I know he's gonna Exceed Summon into something. I know he has other options because he has a bunch of monsters on the field. So I have to just sit and wait and kind of plan out my strategies here. So he sets, he gets pretty much any card that he wants, sets, those are more monsters that he can draw. All I can do right now is just attack. I got that Pot of Duality, I play it, flip up those first 3. I see he's got the Guardian of the Golden Land, and an Eldlich of the Scarlet. So more monsters he's gonna get, special summoning left and right, and it's all about just kind of figuring out, you know, what poses the most threat. Golden Lord drops on the field, but he puts it in defense because I know he sees my Inspector Border was at 2500. But there you go, he activates that one card effect that drops me down to 0. He can't activate anymore after that. But because I'm at 0, I'm gonna have to play defensively. So I put Moon Mirror Shield on it, and he Solemn Judgments it because he knows what Moon Mirror Shield does. I was hoping he didn't know. So he pops my Moon Mirror Shield. Now I just gotta put everything in defense. Put it in defense, and I just have to kind of sit and wait. So he's got his options to Exceed Summon here. He can do multiple Exceed Summons. He can draw more cards. So here he's gonna start that drawing engine from the graveyard because I don't have anything to set Banish yet. So he's getting all the fuel for his Eldlich engine. There we go. There's the first Exceed Summon, which is Divine Dragon Knight. Divine Dragon Knight now can activate its effect by discarding material. But still not worried because even though he targets me, I'm unaffected by other card effects, and I do have that Power of the Guardians there, so I do have the protection. which he knows I have. So I'm hoping he attacks. He grabs another Golden Lord. I grab a Golden Lord and I banish his Golden Lord, and I'm hoping at this point, I'm gonna draw into something well. All right, we fast forward a little bit and we see that he's still kind of doing plays. I was able to use my Ice Dragon's Prison to grab an Eldlich Golden Lord to banish his and banish the one that I grabbed as well. So I limited him now to only drawing one in his deck. The main card I'm worried about is that Xyz summon that's on the field. There, I finally got the Macrocosmos. He then discards, negates the effect of Inspector Border, but also now Inspector Border is unaffected by card effects. That's one caveat to that play. And here he goes. There's his last Golden Lord he has. The other two were banished. So he has the option. He can play it if he wants. What he said, he decides to go into a second Xyz. He's going to go with a Constellar card, which is a warrior card. That card then sends Macrocosmos back to my hand, and he has to end his phase because I have Power of the Guardians there, and he knows Power of the Guardians will still protect. He has got a full field, and he will continue drawing that engine. He's playing a 60 card version of Eldlich right now, so I just have to do my best to boost whatever I can. I had to bait out that last Constellar material, so I put a Power of the Guardians on it. That was the only play I can think of. He sends the border right back, which I was fine with because it allowed me to Lightning Storm, popped all those cards, put an Inspector Border back out in hopes now that he won't be able to do any more of those crazy plays. He can't really do any plays now. I got the Macrocosmos, so any card that gets destroyed will automatically get banished. He does have a 2,500 defense monster on the field. So I've got to think I got to get over this. I only have one more Power of the Guardians in my deck, so I just have to sit and wait. I'm just sitting tight and just waiting. He doesn't have any plays he can make at this point because of Inspector Border. So here we go. I grab that Ice Dragon's Prison and I wait. I know I can grab one of the Xyz summons. I'll probably want to grab the Xyz summon that had the 2,800 attack, but I want to wait to see if he's going to flip up any more of his back row. He doesn't, so it just becomes a waiting game. I see I grab it. There can only be one. I put it in that far right zone because I don't know if he has an infinite impermanence, because if he does, it'll negate my there can only be one if I decide to flip it up. So I grab an infinite impermanence now, and then I set it in that field. And ironically, I believe he actually did have an infinite impermanence in the same exact column. So it was a good thing that I put the there can only be one in that far right. Here I grab the 2,800 Xyz summons. Now I can attack and attack again. He's only got 450 life points. So I'm just going to go for broke and expecting that he can't play anything. He won't flip anything. There it is. He's got nothing he can do. He just has to take the attack. And our first victory where we won by attack and our opponent did not surrender.